of the rainbow, it's probably in this show, from purple turquoise to pink rhodochrosite to the greens. Speaking of the greens, let's dive right into a multi-gemstone bead 36-inch necklace. Now this is brand new this hour. Speaking of a rainbow, rose quartz, green malachite, pink opal, yellow aragonite, green serpentine, even some petrified wood for this wonderful earthy vibe. This is a fantastic offer. It is 36 inches in length. So you've got over 3 feet of gemstones.
Well,
How much fun do you have putting together these color combinations?
Okay, you not only have 3 feet of gemstones, but think about this, okay? You got 3 feet of gemstones from 6 different countries in the world. So you would have had to gone, like I did, to 6 different countries in the globe, right? And these range from around the world. I combined this the very first time that I've ever combined all of these 6 natural materials together in one design. I just think it's a cool look. You know, anything like this that's multicolored, think of all the possibilities that you have to accessorize with it, right? I mean, there's a color for anything that you're wearing or anything that maybe you're trying to coordinate to. There's at least one color in there that's gonna go with it, if not more. What I find very special about these designs when I do them is it brings back so many memories. It's literally a trip around the world that can be the same thing for you. If you can think about each one of these stones, okay, so this comes from Madagascar, South Africa, Peru, Northern China,
wow,
the USA, and Australia, okay? So if you could think about these materials, right, and their trip around the world and everything that they've seen, all the cultures they've experienced, the smells, the odors, the sounds, I mean, it really...
I hope you didn't include the odors.
I have to tell you, well, do you know that that's
around the world.
Do you know what's really amazing, though, is all the different sensory things that you get when you travel, okay?
Sure.
And I guarantee you that when you talk to people like, I don't know where you've been in the world, but any certain places that you've traveled,
sure,
always you take back the memory of what it's, you know, like maybe it doesn't have to be bad odors. Maybe it's the food or it's whatever that, you know,
tropical flowers
that you had. The flowers,
yes,
it can be a lot of different things, right? It's the sights, but it's also the sounds, you know, the music, the culture, the different, the
food,
the different
the
accents, everything you see. And then also, every one of these, I could tell you some funny stories. I don't have time, and I could talk about this necklace all day, but some of the funny stories of things that have happened to me when we were obtaining that material, right? There's just, it's not, sometimes it's not the stories that you do tell, it's all the stories that you just don't have time to tell.
Or we can't tell on national television.
There's just so many different things, the interactions that go on. And you know, like you go to different countries, a lot of them have different politics. I mean, there's a lot of different things that in the long...
a lot of things.
Well, a lot of time when you're there, it's not funny. But when you get back to the United States and you start talking to your friends, then everybody's laughing, you do realize it is funny, you know, so just a lot of good times. And that's what I love about these. I mean, these designs, they're just fun. And, you know, if you think about it, right, to be able to get this, we had to go to 6 different individual countries in the world. This is literally a trip around the globe.
Will you walk us through each of the stones? So in case you're new to collecting and you're not sure how to identify, there's some really, really beautiful stones.
I could give all these to you, but I think...
So actually, we're gonna move on. But again, it's rose quartz, green malachite, pink opals. The yellow is an aragonite. Am I saying that? Aragonite. And then the green serpentine are those barrel shapes that are sort of like down below here. And then there's even some petrified wood. Some are faceted, some are smooth, 36 inches in length. We gotta go. We'll tell you when that is gone. That really is a one of a kind. I mean, no one else will have anything like that in their wardrobe. And you'll feel like you went around the world